Ah, this is funny. This is real life, you guys. And the beautiful thing about Plexus, when I saw I was running late, I was able to text Terri real quick, and she was going to get this started for me, but I made it home in the nick, you guys. I mean, I am barely here, but thank you all for being patient. Hi, Grace. Thank you all for being patient and for waiting. We've got a great call tonight. I love when we have like guest diamonds come on and they share with us, but my favorite calls are when people from our own team speak. Hi, Elijah. When people from our own team speak and we get to hear from you all, and you guys share with other people on our team what you're learning and what's working for you. And that's very rare in network marketing. It's a lot more common to kind of keep it to yourself if something's working because you want your team to grow. But in Plexus, we know we are one Plexus, and we share what we're learning and we share what we're doing. So 2 weekends ago, I think it was, that's okay, Julie, we love you. Some of our gals went to Gold School in Austin. I wanted to be there with them so badly. We were actually in Colorado, and my schedule, it just wouldn't work. We'd already made that commitment, but they looked like they had a blast. I've heard they had a tiny bit of fun. I love that they're all dressed in their gold sparkles tonight. Ooh, I absolutely love it. Gold School is incredible. Do everything you can to get there. If you are invited to a Gold School, make it a priority if you can, if it works with your schedule. Ruby's on the Rise, the same way. If you are invited to either one of those, you need to go. It is a much smaller training, although this was the biggest Gold School they'd had. It's still so much smaller. The leaders retreat, or especially convention, and you get more one-on-one with CEOs and with people at corporate, and you just get more intensive training, especially for at the level you're at. If you're at Gold, if you're at Ruby, you get that training. And I love, 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 love that corporate's offering this. We've had the Jewel training for a while, and I love that they are now doing the trainings for other ranks as well. I absolutely love that. So we are going to get this gold party started, you guys. I'm super excited. Vicki, I'm going to start with you first. Vicki Westbrook. Vicki, I want each of you, as you speak, before you really get started in Gold School stuff, I'm throwing them a monkey wrench here. I want you to share just a little bit of your story. And I want you to share, all three of you have been with Plexus for some time. I want you to share what keeps you here. What do you love so much about Plexus that it keeps you with Plexus? And then tell us your takeaways from Gold School. You guys, I want to encourage you, get a pen and paper, take some notes. You're going to want to reference back to this. This is being recorded, but you're going to want to reference back to your notes, I know too. So Vicki Westbrook, my sweet friend, will you please take it away for us?
Okay, I will. Let's see, my story is I've been with Plexus for 8 years, was 8 years in June. And my sweet friend, Terri Paxton, her and I were friends since middle school. I lived in Oklahoma for about 4 years. And during that time we met and we played together. We played Barbies and we rode dirt bikes around our yard with my brother, and we dipped Skull together. So I know that's funny. But anyway, so I moved back to Texas and we stayed in touch through Christmas cards all those years. And then eventually Facebook came along and we were able to connect through that. And so I had seen her posting about Plexus, and I don't know if I asked her what that was, or maybe she just got bold and sent me a message one day, because I would comment, I think, on her post. But mainly I was just curious about Plexus. And so I decided I would try it and see what it was all about, because I'd never heard anything about gut health. And lo and behold, 2 or 3 months later, after I started taking it, which was in June, and so here we are in October, when it's that season where your eyes are watering and your nose is running and you're sneezing and all that. Well, I didn't have it that year. And so that kind of got me hooked on what really gut health is, because I'd had that for years and years, ever since I could remember, in my adult life anyway. But now I don't have it anymore, and I can go outside during October. But anyway, I've been a gold ambassador, and I really don't know how long it's been. I know it's been over a year. It's probably been over 2 years or so, but just have been held that rank for a long time. And I actually had slipped down 1 point below gold rank, and during, I think it was July, if you re-ranked, then you got an invite to gold school, which just so happened everything fell in place, and I got the invite. And being in Texas, I didn't want to go. I think that month, the next month, it was in Minneapolis, maybe, but we decided let's go to Austin. So that would be a lot closer and probably a lot more fun, or a lot more weird anyway. That's their motto. But anyway, we had truly a blast in Austin. I roomed with Babette and Terri, and then there was another girl on Alicia's team, one of her level ones that we met and had invited. Alicia was asking if she had a room, if we had room for her, so she stayed with us, and so we had a really good time. Some of the things about Gold School, like you said, it's very individual. I felt like they were just right there talking to us, and I feel like they let their hair down. And we've all seen them I've seen them at Leaders Retreat. I've seen them all at convention, but it's on a much larger scale. So it was very individualized, and just they spoke right to us. And I feel like they laid it all on the table, and so it was a lot of fun. We learned, they gave us a book to go through. It's like a workbook, and so we took all our notes in that. Some things that one of my big takeaways was Genevieve she's a comedian, y'all. She is just a funny woman, but she gets up there and starts telling us about how to just really be ourselves and be authentic. And I know we've heard about that a long time, to be authentic in our posting and our sharing, and try not to just use graphics and verbiage that everybody in Plexus is saying, just to be yourself. Because if you think about it, people aren't just scrolling. That's what she said. They're not just scrolling looking for inflammation, inflammation. We post about that a lot, and people aren't looking for that. They don't know what that is. I mean, they may know, but they're not looking for that. And so we talked a lot about using words that create emotions or feelings. And so everybody in the room was throwing out words that you may use instead to maybe attract somebody's attention on Facebook. And so we were throwing out words like miserable, disappointed, I'm tired, it feels awful to be tired all the time, unrecognizable, overwhelmed, elastic pants. People can relate to having to wear elastic pants because you're so puffy. Let's see, exhausted, hopeless, sad. Those were just some of the words that everybody in the room was throwing out that you could maybe use in your posting to not just be the same old thing. So people would relate more to things like that. I thought that was real interesting, and the fact that we don't think that way. We're used to inflammation and migraines, and just words that we see all the time that we probably shouldn't be saying. She touched a lot on the yes for success. If y'all don't know about that, that's the red flag words that we don't use. We don't need to be using, because it can get us in trouble with the FTC. And so there's a lot of red flag words. If you don't know about that, you can look in your back office, and there's a whole section on that, and how we're not, our disclaimer, we're not to treat and cure certain diseases. We're not supposed to talk about diseases and how we can cure them. So another thing that we talked about was, let me find out on that, about looking for business builders. And she talked about there's like a soft approach and then a bolder approach. And I hope I'm not getting in anybody's that we're going to talk about this, but I just noticed that in my notes a little while ago. You know, it's hard to talk to people about, you know, the business. Just face it, we usually lead with the product because our products are so good, but also people need the business, and we know that. But sometimes it's hard, and you kind of have to judge who you're talking to. But maybe a soft approach would be, and this was just something she said, although, and this would be like a VIP maybe who's already on your team. Although you didn't ask, I like to remind people that these products are the foundation of a great way to make a little pocket money. So keep that in mind, because you just never know. And that's just something just to kind of, you know, fill them out. And if you think that they might want something like that in the future. Maybe a bolder approach would be, have you ever considered making a little extra income for your family? I'm asking because we are looking for help, and if you have a reason, check it out for yourself and decide if this might be a fit for you. You might need this to pay student loans, to create more margin in your monthly income, to create less stress, and to help ends meet. So you're really talking about things that go toward, you know, that feeling of needing money. So those are just some things that kind of stood out to me, along with what Babette and Terri will say also. But one of the things we did at the very end was they gave everybody balloons, gold balloons, and they told us to blow them up. And then we had these Sharpies, and we would write on our balloon what fears we had, like, you know, talking to people, or what people might think about us if we're sharing plexus, and just whatever our fears are. And so we wrote our fear on the balloon, and we tied it, blew it up and tied it. And then, you know, everybody threw them up. You're supposed to throw up the balloons and hit them. And so we had balloons flying everywhere, and that was just knocking our fears away, you know, getting rid of them. And I think somebody wrote on the balloon, their fear was balloons. our fear of balloons popping. And so balloons were popping all over the place and flying around the room. It was just a lot of fun. We had a great time. We went out afterwards, and I think you'll hear more about that too. But it's a great time. I think I have a lot more blue in me than I thought that I ever did. But my favorite thing I think about Plexus, besides the products and the business, is of course all the people that I've met along the way in Plexus. And, you know, the more you're with all you guys, the more you love each other, and it's just a great team and a great company. So
Oh, I love our team. I love us. Thank you so much, Vicki. That was so good. I love what you talked about, the using the emotions and the feeling words. I think that's so important. And then when you touched on the soft approach, the bold approach, I was thinking a lot of times people don't know yet that they need, yes, Terri, I love us. People don't know yet that they need this business. They don't know it until they get in it. And we need it for all different reasons. Like you said, the community, the money, the helping other people, all of the things. So you have some questions over here, Vicki. Asking is if you could post a script for feelings that you mentioned on the Building Freedom page. And I think you probably can. And then can you reread the bold approach?
okay. I can post that too if you need me to, but I'll reread it.
Yeah. Why don't we do that? Just post both of them. We'll post both of them in Building Freedom. And last thing, Vicki, I know you're down there near Houston, but go Rangers.
I don't know, go Houston, although I know they lost today.
I mean, come on, we're getting there. And who else would have a purple Texas Ranger shirt but me? Anyway, thank you so much, Vicki. I love you. And I have been out with these gals after events before, and I know they had fun. Terri FaceTimed me during part of it. I was kind of jealous, but you know, she FaceTimed me as I was washing baby bottles and y'all were out partying. I'm like, oh, that looks like fun. Anyways, thank you, Vicki. I appreciate it. Okay. I am going to say her name correctly. I know I'm going to do it. Babette Murishage. I nailed it, didn't I? Did I nail it? Yeah, baby.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did.
For the longest time, your name was all misspelled in my phone, but I got it in there correctly now. I know how to pronounce it. We're moving right along. Babette, tell us your story and then your takeaways from Gold School.
Sure. So I started Plexus for the products, just like many of you, not for the business. After scrolling for months past Kylie Schwane's posts that I ignored and rolled my eyes to for a long time. But I was an exhausted mama who had just returned to work after being at home. Our youngest started driving, really didn't need me anymore. So I decided to go back to work part-time. I was exhausted. So I was just looking for some help with that and thought, why not? I'll try. She offered a free sample. I'm always about free. So the rest, as they say, is history. I joined, started getting great results from the product and just had people start asking me what I was doing. So it came organically, even though Kylie was so patient and waiting and encouraging me to post. I didn't post for probably a year. But I did have people join because they would just ask me about it. And at that time, I was certainly way more comfortable talking to people in person. So then I became a business builder because I was and still am completely committed to these products because they have changed my life. My health for the better. I feel better than I did 20, even 30 years ago. I can't say enough positive things about the health changes that I've had, everything from chronic migraine headaches every month. It is 5 years this month that I have not had a migraine headache, when I would have them every month like clockwork since I was probably 16 years old. So I knew nothing different. I just thought it was normal because my mom also suffered from them. I had horrible IBS, thyroid issues, you name it. I mean, I was living it, thinking all those things were normal, which they weren't. So I'm happy to say that, you know, I am much healthier now and our finances are as well. I am senior gold. It has been a rough probably 12 months. I know Amber and Claire and Vicki and Terri know this, but I've had a senior gold and a gold both leave in the last year. And that has just been really rough on my business and my mindset. So this Gold School, the timing of it could not have been more perfect because I was just starting to kind of get my own personal mindset and momentum going in a more positive direction. And so it has just reignited my fire. It reinforced and validated that I am doing the right thing, that I am in the right place, because I was questioning it for quite some time. So that's a bit about my story. Gold School was amazingly fun, y'all. I did have the best roommates ever. So Vicki, Terri, and Rebecca Day were my roommates. There were 4 of us. 4 women in a room is always a lot of fun. There may have been a fireball or 2 consumed. I don't know, 1 or 2. We went out to dinner on Friday night when we all got there. And that was with a bigger group with Alicia's team. So fun to all go out to Iron Cactus and have a great dinner, explore Austin a little bit. And then just a fantastic day at Gold School. Y'all, they spoil us. Plexus really invests in us as individuals. They really do care. And they treat you so wonderfully. This hotel that the Gold School was held in was a gorgeous 5-star hotel. The food was amazing. We were constantly being fed all day long. breakfast, snacks, lunch, and even a happy hour that included enough food for our dinner before we went out to Pete's Dueling Piano Bar, which was also great fun. Thank you, Vicki, for arranging that for the group of us to go. So yeah, there was 10 women sitting at a front row table at Pete's Dueling Piano Bar, all dressed in gold, known as the Golden Girls in Pete's Piano Bar, and even had somebody buy us a round of drinks who was with some other woman. I think maybe it was his daughter, don't know, but he bought us all a round of drinks, which was very nice and generous. So y'all, fun things happen during Gold School, at Gold School, all day long, into the evenings. It just really filled our cup. The one thing I wanted to talk about, there were so many takeaways, so much in this awesome booklet that they gave us. And it has just been a constant reference guide for me since I've been home. One of the things that I know many of you have heard of, talked about, and that is the winning day. And I don't think I can hear it too many times. And the things that I want to share about the winning day that Genevieve went over with us, it is a 7-step process. And it's very much like a recipe. You want to do a recipe, but sometimes you have to cut it in half, and that's okay. But you don't leave out an ingredient. And what that means is there are 7 steps for a reason. So you can't leave out step 3 because it's not a step you feel comfortable with. You have to still include step 3. You may cut it in half, but you still have to, you can't skip it. So if you make a nice little cinnamon bread without the cinnamon, it's not going to taste like cinnamon bread. The recipe's not going to turn out. So the 7 steps are in place for a reason. And when you put them to work and actually do them, if you do it as prescribed, it's about a 2-hour commitment to your day. You can cut it in half. If you only have an hour, cut each one down accordingly, but don't skip a step. Still do step 1, step 2, step 3, all the way to step 7. Do them all. Just cut the recipe according to the amount of time you have to work that day. Put it in your planner, commit to it. When you utilize these steps, you will gain some momentum. It will take some time. You do have some planting of seeds to do, but it does happen. One of the other things that I got out of Genevieve, and I've learned this the hard way personally, so I think perhaps that's why I resonated with it so well, and perhaps some of you will as well. And that is that it's one thing to utilize the teaching day, it's another to teach it to someone else in your downline that might be becoming a business builder or might be interested in getting people. You can't do it for them, but you can show them how to do it. And the example that Genevieve used was riding a bicycle. When you teach your child how to ride a bike, you're not getting on the bike and riding it for them. You're putting them on the bike and you're showing them how to do it. And they're going to fall and they're going to tumble and they're going to skin their knees, and you're going to encourage them and get them back up on that bike and have them go do it again. And you're going to keep pushing and pushing and pushing until they get it, and they will get it. They're going to make little progress, and each step, each progress is just that, a step in the right direction. And they'll eventually get it, but they may have some scrapes and bruises along the way so that they learn what not to do. They're going to learn not to turn the handlebars too hard. They're going to learn in their own way what's going to work and what isn't work. So skinning the knees is just as important as success, because we learn then what not to do. And one of the other things that Genevieve mentioned is that as you're teaching someone else this system, they might be frustrated, but that's okay. You can say, hey, good news, you're learning what not to do, which is just as important as what to do. And hey, you're new, keep at it, you're going to get it. And the good news is it'll keep coming. It'll come. I was trying to think, there was another note what she had. Yeah, you're putting yourself out there. You're learning and you're putting yourself out there, and there's something to be said for that. So just keep going. You are going to get it. So encouragement through that is extremely, extremely important. Let's see, a couple other notes that I had. Trust the system. Y'all trust the system, utilizing this. And one of the things she said is go for no 3 times a day. No is important, and no isn't never. No is just no. It allows you to move on. But those people on your parking list, check back with them in 3 months, because maybe no will turn into a maybe in 3 months, or maybe it'll still be a no. Either way, go for the no 3 times, because that's progress too. It's going to take, I forgot how many no's it takes to get to a yes. And I actually put this to work the very first week that we were back. I'd done it before. I didn't do it again. I hadn't been doing it very consistently. So last week I was inviting people to the Real People, Real Stories Zoom call, and I was going for the 3 no's. And as I asked people, I actually ended up getting 2 yeses. So I was going for the no and ended up getting 2 yeses, which was such a nice, lovely surprise. Yeah, I still got 2 no responses, and I still got I'm out of town. It wasn't a no, it was I'm out of town. Great. I'm going to go back to her next week, I guarantee you, and re-invite her. So go for those no's, trust the process. Again, remember not to skip any steps. Go for micro commitments as you're working with people, as you're touching base with them and planting the seeds. If they're asking for more information, that's a micro commitment. Just one of the examples that Genevieve used there is, once we kind of target someone, we put them in seat number 1, and you've got 9 more seats to get to seat 10. You can't go from seat 1 to seat 10. You got to move them gradually from seat 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 and so on to get to seat 10. So move them down the line gradually. Don't expect to go from 1 to 10 overnight. Now, it's always nice when someone goes, I'm ready to go, let's do this now. They're sprinting to chair 10. And if they are, and you've vetted those people out, that's great. Let's go for it. Let's do it. But most of the time you want to go for those micro commitments, instead of just expecting someone to go for it right away. The other key element is, as you follow up with people, follow-up's important as well, whether it's a prospect or an existing customer, and that is going for the high touch follow-up. And by high touch, we mean personalized, not automated. So Project Broadcast is there for a purpose and a reason. If any of you have used that for following up with people, especially as they're getting started, my Project Broadcast may not be designed as well for that, but also high touch, as in use your voice text people, or even, by golly, people, pick up the phone and call, get on the phone, ask for a telephone conversation. That's a micro commitment, y'all. If somebody will agree to get on the phone with you or meet you in person for coffee, we've got to get back to that. Social media can't be our only way of trying to communicate with people, and or texting can't be our only way either. There's so much value in people hearing your voice. And what I mean by that is, if you're reaching out to someone who just had a fight with their husband, or couldn't get the kids out the door fast enough for school that day, and everybody left backpacks and lunches and all this, they're frustrated, they're already coming at a bad place, and you send them a text, they're going to read that text through their own lens of what they're experiencing that day, of frustration, of aggravation. They're not going to hear, oh, hey, are you interested? They're going to go, are you interested? Like, no, I'm not, because I'm already having a bad day. But if they hear your voice in a voice text, if you can't get them on the phone, and they hear your genuineness, that you're caring about them, it can bring a sense of calm to them. And also they'll understand what your intent is, not seeing it through the lenses that they're wearing at that point in time, based on what they experienced before you reached out to them. So those were kind of some key takeaways that I had from the 7 steps. If you don't know what the 7 steps are of the winning day, we can probably, I'm sure, repost that into the group page. But there's so many more notes on it. Feel free to reach out to me personally if you want some more input on how long those steps should be, or what were some of the key points that they made. There's obviously not enough time to go through what we experienced in an entire day. And Genevieve really spent a lot of time with us on the winning day as well. So good. So good.
Thank you, Babette. I would love, if you have it, or if it wouldn't take you too terribly long to type it up, to post it in Building Freedom, the 7 steps. And if she told you, and I'm assuming she did, like in parentheses, spend this much time on this one and this much time on this one. And like she said, if you need to cut that in half, cut it in fourths, like do whatever you need to do to make it work for your day. But the winning day is the title. You will win your day. And I love how she talked about going for no. Absolutely love that. Babette, you talked about something the other night on y'all's smaller call. If you could quickly share with us what you talked about with the CEOs and them sticking around. If you could share that little tidbit, because I just think it speaks a lot about Plexus.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've mentioned this to many other people. I think I even posted about it. Yeah, I did. I posted about it today. Y'all, I came from a corporate background, 25 years with a high-tech company, and about a year and a half before that with another high-tech company. And what I can tell you is that never in all my years of corporate experience, never was I at an event, customer event, marketing event, trade show, anything where the CEO, the founder, the COO, the CMO, the CDO, none of the C staff stuck around. They would go in, they would present, and literally they dash off to their next commitment. They did not stick around and spend time with people or to talk to you. Certainly did not stick around for pictures. That was the last thing they were going to do. They didn't get up and have a heartfelt presentation. They weren't vulnerable. They didn't talk about, hey, both Genevieve and Alec, their kids had birthdays that day on Gold School Saturday. So they asked if we would, wish happy birthday to their kids, and they put their phone up, took a selfie, and videoed us yelling happy birthday to their kids, because they're there too. They're real people. So they were very vulnerable to share that, but they sacrificed time with their family to be there with us. So it would have been easy for either one of them to jet out to go spend time that evening with their kids and their birthday, but they didn't. They stuck around the whole day to spend with us, to invest in us, and to pour into us. So that's a culture that was extremely, like I said, that was very validating to me. It's a culture of integrity and just downright true care that they have for the organization. So I can't speak highly enough about that.
Yes, I love that. And I loved as you were sharing that, so many people on the call got smiles on their faces because we resonate with that. We feel that. We've gotten to know Genevieve and Tarl and Alec and Jean, and maybe all on different levels, but they are the real deal. And they stuck around to pour into people. I am convinced that Plexus is not, we call ourselves the health and happiness company. I think we should be the happiness and health company, because I feel like they put our happiness first. They want to see us grow as people more than anything. And I absolutely love that. When you were talking about, how many reach outs does it take for someone to say yes? I put it in the chat, but typically it's 7 to 12. So she's talking about moving them those 10 chairs. It could be 7 or 12 chairs, but that's what she's talking about. It could take 7 to 12 different times of me reaching out saying, Babette, try Plexus. Babette, try Plexus. Obviously say it better than that, but doing it over and over and over again. And so often, at time 2 or 3, maybe with some people that intimidate us even after the first time, we're like, oh, I ain't asking again. But we don't know what may have changed in their lives during that first reach out and that second reach out, or between the 5th and the 6th or whatever, that now may make them go, you know what, now's the time. I'm going to do this. I'm going to try these products. So the fortune is in the follow-up. You guys have heard that phrase, I'm sure, your whole lives. But it's so very true. The fortune is in the follow-up. Retention is huge. Absolutely love that. Yeah, if you could post the steps. I took some notes here when you were talking. You had me picturing baby Jack riding a bike in a few years, and I got a little teary when you were talking about the bike. But we could have just stopped after like her first sentence and been done with this call and all rushed out and sold Plexus, because she said she hasn't had a migraine in 5 years. You guys, that's huge. I don't know if you've seen the post going around that's like, what is something that no one understands unless you've experienced it for yourself, which by the way is a great call to action post, where people are giving their opinion. But that is one of them that I've seen on everybody's post, a migraine, a true legit migraine. You hear the word migraine, and if you've never experienced it for yourself, you think it's a headache, and it's not. It's so much more than that. And I'm right there with you, Babette. I haven't had one in like 8 years, 7 years, something like that. And it's life-changing. Migraines can be completely debilitating. So let's all just take a moment, give a little round of applause for our incredible products. Yay for gut health. Curious, put it in the chat. How many of you on a scale from 1 to 10, 10 being a whole heck of a lot, 1 being, or let's say 0 being none at all, how much did you know about gut health when you started Plexus? Where were you at on that? Don't answer yet. Hang on. Oh, okay, y'all are answering. Y'all, that's okay. That's okay. Put that number first. At Terri pretending to be Amber. Good gracious. Put that number first, and then put the next number of how much you feel like you know about it now, where you're at in that, right? Because Plexus, if nothing else, has taught us so much about gut health. Yes, Lynn went from 0 to 10. Absolutely love that. I think so many of us did. We went from 0 to like 7, 8, 9s, and 10s. So thank you, Plexus, for gut health. Babette, thank you. Babette Murishage said it right twice.
Hey, that's impressive. Now you've set a precedent. So, oh, and by the way, y'all, just so you know, this didn't happen at Gold School. It actually happened at convention. There is another Babette.
There is. And she was on the leaderboard a couple weeks ago.
I know. She's rocking it. She's already earned Punta Cana. I'm like, girl, you got to tell me how.
Amazing. You guys, let's just stop right there. That trip, 4 Babettes. Wow, Vicki. That trip is going to be incredible. It's all inclusive. And we want everyone there. We are going to do our best to be there. It all depends on some paperwork for baby Jack, if we can take him out of the country. But I hope and pray that we're able to be there. We want you guys all there. Terri Paxton, our last and final speaker tonight. She is no stranger to our team, been around for a minute. Terri, tell us your story. I want to hear a little bit about that orphanage and how it's looking these days. And then tell us about Gold School and your takeaways.
Okay, well,
no, I'm sorry, not Terri Paxton. Terri pretending to be Amber. She wishes.
Yeah, right,
y'all.
Yeah, there you go. Wow, we could wrap it up right now just with everything that Vicki and Babette have shared. That we had such a great time, and I'll share a little bit more about that. But okay, my story. I was wanting to get skinny for my daughter's wedding in 2 weeks, which we all know, that's the kind of diet mindset that I had. I'm like, oh, Katie's wedding's coming up. It's 2 weeks from now. I better get skinny. And so I reached out to my sweet friend, Claire, who was one of my former first graders, and said, okay, I've been watching you. She didn't ever talk about skinny. She talked about her being exhausted and not needing naps or anything like that. But I had heard the word Plexus Slim. So I assumed it was just like every other diet thing that I had tried. So I tried Slim. And do you think I got skinny in 2 weeks? Oh, no, of course not. That's silly. And so I quit. I was just like, this stuff doesn't work. Forget it. A few months after my daughter's wedding, the professional photos showed up, and there was a aha wake up call photo that just kind of knocked me smack dab in the face. And I was like, okay, should have stuck with that a little bit longer than the 2 weeks. I'm going to reach out to Claire again and give it a second try. And so when I did, there was something in my brain, and I really can't tell you what it was, other than just watching Claire still be consistent and talking about things besides, she never even talked about weight loss, but the things that helped her feel better. Like I said, she wasn't taking naps. I remember that. She wasn't taking a nap in her car on her lunch break anymore. Those kind of things. I'm like, well, that could always be a good idea as well. So I recommitted and told Claire that I would try it for 6 months. And even then I had a disclaimer. I'm like, okay, but if it doesn't work in 6 months, can I quit? And she's like, well, you can, but how did quitting the first time work out for you? Long story short, I went ahead and, back then it was wholesale versus a, business building ambassador, that kind of thing. Started right from the very beginning sharing, because I'd been watching other people doing plexus, talking about their non-scale victories. And so I thought, okay, if it works for them, if it's working for my friend Claire, although I haven't experienced all these things that I was watching other people do, their belief and their success filled me up. And so I started telling my friends. Eventually, my friends, while I was teaching, started noticing some of the visible things, like my clothes were getting baggier. I wasn't chugging Diet Dr. Pepper anymore. I was a happier mama and teacher. Oh my goodness, my feet used to scream every morning when I woke up. I couldn't walk through the house without putting on some really thick flip-flops, because I never was diagnosed with plantar fasciitis, but I'm sure it was something similar to that, because my feet just hurt all the time. That was when I really noticed, when I was able to wake up one morning and walk through the house to go fix coffee without having to put on those thick shoes. I thought, oh my goodness, there's something to this besides just plexus slim, that I'm going to try to lose some weight. And I started noticing some of those non-scale victories. I lost pounds, I lost inches, all those things that people can notice. And that's when my teacher friends, my Facebook friends, and other people started joining my team and wanting what I was, it's like, okay, Terri, what are you doing? Tell us how to do that. And so I started sharing, and it started growing pretty organically. Like I said, I wasn't super intentional, but I let the belief of other people fill me up until I found my own belief. And so my business grew. While I was teaching, it was extra money at the time, because I still had my teaching salary. And this is where Amber was like, oh, be sure to share this. So y'all, I was blowing through that money. It was mad money. I had some cute purses, some cute shoes, some cute jewelry, but that's about all I had to show for that mad money. And there was one evening in particular that I was literally scrolling, looking for other plexus diamonds. I'm like, I'm going to be one of them. And I ran across Sarah Marble posting about her building an orphanage in India. And I can still remember the feeling that I got when I saw that. It was like the Lord told me, it was almost like a neon light. It's like, Terri, I am not blessing your business to buy shoes or jewelry or purses or all the fun things that you have been blowing that money on. This income that you have been blessed with, this extra income beyond your teacher's salary, is going to be used to build an orphanage in India. So we were able to use that income. It took us about a year to raise the money, or to not raise the money, to save the money from my plexus check to build an orphanage in India for 25 sweet kiddos. And in December of 2016, my daughter and I flew to India to open our orphanage. And it's named after a friend of mine, Jana Rogers, who at the time was really quite the warrior, such a faith-filled gal that just demonstrated everything it was to rely on the Lord in hard times. And she eventually lost her battle to cancer not too long ago, actually. But our house is dedicated to Jana. And since then, have I found another sweet, sweet friend, Jana, who is such a warrior as well, that just demonstrates what it's like to trust in the Lord when things really, really, really get hard. I find myself thinking, when I think of two strong women, they both are named Jana, and they have been such a spiritual influence on me. Anyway, our orphanage is named Jana's House. So Katie and I went over there in December, opened that orphanage, got to see our sweet kiddos come running in. They have a roof over their head. They have pillows to sleep on. They have shoes on their feet. They finally have clear running water. Since then, we've built some other water wells. We are real intentional about creating or building, I guess, or funding a water well for each of our grandkids. So we have Quade's well and Layla's well and Cora's well. We have all these water wells over in India now that we name after our kiddos. But so that was in 2016. And we, I haven't ever shared this out loud. We don't have, when we get contact and updates about our orphanage, we have to do it through the organization, which is called Angel House, that we built it through. And due to laws in India and regulations, just some things that we as Americans don't even understand. It is definitely different. So we don't have direct contact with our home. We get updates and they'll send us newsletters and those kind of things, but we don't have phone numbers and that kind of thing. 2016 was the last time that we saw our folks at our home, our kids at our home in person. Y'all, this is the craziest part. 2 months ago, about the end of August, 1st of September, that's not even 2 whole months, we got a message from Samson, who is the house dad of our orphanage. He and his wife are the house parents for our orphanage. Samson's daughter, Gracie, came to the United States in August to go to college here in Tulsa, to go to Oral Roberts University. She didn't know a soul. She didn't even at that time, they knew we were in Tulsa, but we didn't know she was coming. But through a Plexus post of all things on Instagram, Samson found me on social media, kind of went behind the scenes of the government and all these things, found me and said, hey, our daughter Gracie is in the United States. She's in Tulsa. She's going to school at ORU. Here's her phone number. Would you reach out to her? And I thought, what in the world? Are you kidding me? Long story, really long and wrapped up. Gracie is about 30 minutes away from us going to college. She now calls us mom and dad. We have a college daughter now. I actually spent the day with her today, doing all sorts of things that a college mom would do as far as helping her, get groceries and clothes and all the things. Can you imagine packing up a suitcase, coming to America, not knowing a soul? Really, she didn't know us other than from 2016, which was a super long time ago, and she was this big, and deciding you're going to go to school here. And one of the reasons, she's got a really incredible story, that she wanted to come here was the impact that was made when we opened up our home in India. And it wasn't us, it was the Lord using Plexus to be able to make an eternal impact. Now, we knew we would be doing something for those 25 kiddos, but lo and behold, we never dreamed in a million years that, what would that be, 7 years later, that God would still be using what Plexus has gifted us with to be able to make an impact on this young life, Gracie. Now, she's going to school to be a nurse. She's going to be a doctor. John and I were just talking today. What is going to happen 7 years now down the road for Gracie? And what kind of impact is she going to make? Because we were able to move out of our comfort zone and use my Plexus income to make an eternal impact. It just blows my mind. And it's, like I said, it is all the Lord. It is all the Lord that he has been able to use this. And I used to say that Plexus is our ministry. And I still believe that with everything in me, but I heard somebody else say, it's not necessarily just my ministry, it's a platform for us to use to be able to share the gospel, to be able to share the impact of health and happiness and financial benefits with others. It's just a tool to be able to spread the good news, whether it is about our health or our wealth, or, like I said, the most important thing is the word of Jesus. I think often, and this is actually part of our team name, I see it as we are the pebble that creates a ripple. And Plexus is that pebble that we get to toss in and watch the ripples. And it might be clear across the world. It could be for those sweet 25 kids. I'm looking at my office right here, and I've got all their faces right here, right there, looking at me. It could be for that, but it could be for your mama. It could be for your best friend. It could be for your friend that you dipped skull with back in 5th grade. Y'all, my husband called Vicki and I skull sisters because we found her brother's skull in the bathroom. It's like, ooh, let's try it. Of course, we got sick. You never know who you're going to impact when you're sharing this. And so all that to say, that's my Plexus story. And I thought that what we did in 2016 was kind of wrapped up with a nice, neat bow. And the Lord said, hang on, I got more for you. And then this little girl shows up out of the clear blue. So let's talk about Gold School. And I was going to share a whole lot, but I really just want to share one. Man, I could share a ton, but one of the many things that really stood out to me was when Becky Page talked about the characteristics of an entrepreneurial mindset. And we had like a little compare and contrast. And my teacher brain loves a good this column and this column. You write this stuff in, and then you're like, oh, but what about the better way of looking at it? And so kind of like for you teachers out there, kind of like a Venn diagram, where it's the same and where it's different, that kind of thing. But what I really loved, and we did several of those. We did one about fixed mindset versus growth mindset. And we had all the differences and similarities. We talked about reactive leaders and proactive leaders. And I loved that. But what I want to share with y'all tonight is the culture. We talked about the difference between goal culture and growth culture. And when Amber said, what keeps you around Plexus? Y'all, I feel better at 62 than I did at 42, but I'm still 62. That's just the bottom line. I got more wrinkles. I got more of this. I got more of that. And so the products absolutely help me feel better. But what keeps me around more than anything is the culture. It's the faces that I'm looking at right now. I think that's hilarious, Amber, when you said that. I love us. That was always what I said to my second grade teacher peeps, because it's like the people that I get to be around, regardless of where it is, that's who I love. And I love the culture of Plexus. If it was anything less than what I'm going to share with you guys, I wouldn't be around almost, well, I know it's 9+ years later. It's the people. It is the people, whether it is the CEOs that Babette talked about, whether it's our roommates that we talked about, whether it's this team, our big team, our sideline team. Oh my, it's the people. So let's talk about the culture, and let's talk about goal culture. If you live in a goal culture, or if you focus on a goal culture, you value achievement. You focus on status. The emphasis is on me, and the target is the arrival. Now, I'm not here to say that there's anything wrong with having goals, because we all need goals. And honestly, I found myself really resonating with a lot of that. And I think that's a trap that it's sometimes easy, at least for me, to fall into. I'm looking for the target. I'm wanting to reach my goal. I honestly focus on the status. It's like, ooh, I've been a Ruby ambassador for a dang long time. I sure wish I could get to the next and the next and the next, the status or the achievement or the target. And that's okay. But if that's where you live, you're missing the mark. So that's goal culture. But let's talk about growth culture. And that just sounds better already. Who doesn't want to grow, right? But here's the growth culture. You value development instead of achievement. You focus on stretching instead of just the status. When you focus on stretching, here's where my biggest takeaway was, it's going to be uncomfortable. And I'll talk about comfort zone in just a minute. The emphasis is on we instead of me. And that was something that Vicki kind of shared about, when we talk about emotions, people can relate to that. It's not about us. It's not about, let me tell you about all the ingredients. It's not about, let me tell you about the hottest whatever. Let's talk about we. If we can, people can relate when we talk about what they're experiencing. So we take the emphasis off of me and put it on we. And then the target is growth instead of arriving. So that growth culture, you can see the whole different, the feeling that you get when you think about developing and stretching and focusing on others instead of self, and that you want to grow. Now, that growth is getting you out of your comfort zone. I just did a training this morning with a bunch of teachers talking about, it's time to move out of our comfort zone. Our comfort zone, when we get out of our comfort zone, that's where the magic happens. And I don't say that lightly, because I'm just telling you, I like a pair of fuzzy slippers. I like my comfy blankie, and I love my UGG robe. I like to be comfortable. But I want to share this quote with you that didn't come from Gold School, but it has sat on my office desk for, I would say, at least 5-6 years. And it's just hand scribbled, but I want to read it to you about comfort zone. It says, I'm comfortable in my comfort zone, but the enemy is comfortable there with me also. Now that's convicting. I could stop right there. It says, you can love the Lord and you can still waste your life. You can know him. You don't have to have a big dramatic life, but you need to show up for what God has in store for you. So get out of your comfort zone because there are people that need to be reached. I was just like, holy smokes, there it is. There it is in a nutshell. It's comfortable to not always do the winning day. It's comfortable to probably send a text instead of get on the phone. Do something that's going to stretch you to get out of your comfort zone. And that's where the magic happens. One last thing I want to share with y'all is it was just kind of the goals that they first started out talking to us about. Their objective, every workshop in my teacher brain has to have an objective. Our objective was to develop introductory leadership skills that create a culture of growth on your team. Check. Okay. In big, bold letters, it says, this is no longer a hobby. It's time to become a professional. And then we dove into the training. And in big old letters, I wrote, am I paying attention to what I am sitting on? And that was something that Genevieve shared with us. She's like, y'all are sitting on gold. There is gold. We were all gold, by the way. You all are sitting on gold. Don't ignore what you have right in front of you. And so I would encourage us all to think about that. It's like, it's time to make this no longer a hobby. It is time to become a professional. Half that recipe if you want to. Quarter that recipe on days that you just can't get it all together and you don't have 2 hours. But do the recipe. Use those emotion words that Vicki talked about. And remember what we have that we're sitting on. And then to move out of your comfort zone and do one thing that's going to make you stretch and grow. That's what I got.
Oh, Terri pretending to be Amber. That is so, so, so good. So good. I want to ask you to please post the entrepreneur. Hold on. I have a hard time saying this.
That's a big word.
The mindset one.
Uh-huh.
The entrepreneur. I can't say that word, you guys. The mindset.
Spell
Say
it.
for me, Terri.
Yeah, entrepreneurial.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Mindset.
Post that and then post that quote about your comfort zone as well.
I
would love to have that. Man, you called me a while back, or I called you or something. We were on the phone and you told me the story about Gracie, but with everything we've had going on with Jack, when you started telling it again, I was like, oh yeah, but I'd kind of forgotten about it a little bit. That story is unreal.
It is unreal.
We can literally trace it back and go, it's all because of the Lord. It's all because of the Lord nudging you, but it's also all because of Plexus. Without that Plexus funding, that orphanage probably would not be built, or probably would have even been laid on your heart to do.
It would have never been laid on my heart. I would have never been looking for Sarah to see. Yeah, it's crazy. It is.
That's absolutely incredible. And listen, I remember Claire's naps. I remember them well. We used to meet for lunch. I know Claire's on here, so I'm gonna pick on her. She and I used to meet for lunch all the time when both of us worked full time. And there would be several times I would call her, hey, do you want to go to lunch today? No, I need to get a nap in my car. And so when I started Plexus, and we didn't even have active then, but it was really helping my energy. I was like, shove this down your throat so we can meet for lunch more, please. And yeah, those car naps started fading. I think that's a huge victory, guys. Right now she has 3 kiddos. She's probably like, please let me go to my nap and go to my car and take a nap. But I absolutely love that. So thank you so much. And I love too, I realized this, like all these connections, Babette connected to Kylie, and then you and Vicki being best friends for nearly your entire lives. And then Claire being one of your first grade students. Like, it's just so cool how without Plexus, those relationships would not have been, you know, how a friendship is started and then it kind of weakens a little bit, and then enter Plexus and you're spending time with them again and you're hanging out with them again and you're doing Zoom calls. It's all because of Plexus. Did you guys know that Plexus has the phrase trademarked, "What if this could change everything?" We own that phrase because it has changed everything for so many people. Ladies, thank you all for sharing tonight. I want to wrap this up and be mindful of everyone's time. We're going to be looking forward to each of your posts and post those in Building Freedom, not in Pink Link, but in Building Freedom. Thank you so much for your sparkly, beautiful gold. All three of you look gorgeous tonight, by the way. Let me close us out in prayer. And y'all, if you have any questions, we'll stick around for a little bit of an after party. If you have any questions for Terri or Vicki or Babette, we'll stick around for a 5-10 minute after party. Dear Heavenly Father, Lord, thank you so much for this gift of Plexus. Lord, I cannot say that enough. Your word tells us in James that every good gift comes from above. And we know Plexus is a really good gift, and we are so thankful for it. Lord, help us to be consistent. When Terri said that about what really got her attention was just Claire's consistency with it, Lord. God, it convicted me. Help us to be consistent with posting, with follow-up, with all the things, Lord. God, we want our businesses to succeed because we want to be able to do more things for you. We want to be able to tithe more, to give more. There may be someone else who heard Terri's story and the Lord's going to put it on their heart to build an orphanage or dig a well or something, Lord. Lord, we want to be able to do those things. And we know because of our compensation plan that Plexus has given us, we can, because it is so very generous. So Lord, we are asking, I am looking at this call and I'm looking at faces of ladies who work their businesses hard. And Lord, I am asking you to rain your richest blessings down upon them, down upon this team, upon their families, Lord. Grow their teams far more than what we could have ever imagined, Lord. God, I look at my son and I just think I could have never have imagined having a baby this amazing. What you did for us goes far more what we ever prayed for. And Lord, I'm asking that over these Plexus businesses right now. Lord, I'm asking that this coming year, as we move into the new year and all the things are happening, Lord, that you will just bless our team, bless these ladies, bless the men on our team that want to see businesses grow, and that, Lord, you will reward the efforts that have been made. Lord, we know that nothing happens unless you're in it. And we pray that as you start rewarding those things to us, that we will be faithful, Lord, that we will be faithful to do the things that you're calling us to do with that money. Lord Jesus, we love you. We thank you and we praise you for all that you are. In your name, amen. Got a little carried away in my prayer. Sorry, I get a little loud when I pray, but I'm going to go ahead and keep recording. If we need to turn the recording off, we can. But does anyone have any questions? Bye, Vicki. Does anyone have any questions for our ladies who spoke tonight, Terri or Vicki or Babette?
Other than where did we get all of our cute gold stuff?
Yeah,
Amazon.
where'd you get all your cute gold stuff?
Just teasing. Amazon.
Oh. Amazon, duh.
Duh.
Well, if we don't have any
Mine
questions,
wasn't Amazon. I wanted to,
Oh yeah, yours was that cute little boutique.
yeah.
you got to try it on. Yeah, I'm the same way. I need to try it on first.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
there was
we
a bunch
could-
of girls with the one like Babette has on.
Yeah, there was a bunch of them. They were darling.
They're all super cute. Vicki, I like the lining on yours, the black and white.
Well, we have where I live, our school colors here are black and gold, so I figured
Oh, that's
probably
perfect.
wear this again sometime.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
I love that. And thank you, Grace. Claire said,
Oh,
Grace
that's so
just said it's
sweet,
okay to be
Grace.
loud when
Yeah.
you pray. Be
That's
loud.
so sweet.
That's funny.
She's a smart girl, that Grace.
Yeah.
All right. Well, listen, if we don't have any questions, we're going to go ahead and run. My husband's over at my parents' house watching the Cowboys game, so I'm going to head that way. But love my husband and my son. Hi, Grace. Hi, Grace. Sweet girl. I miss you.
Hi.
I miss you,
Hi.
sweet girl. All right. You guys have a wonderful night. Vicki, Terry, Babette, thank you so very much for being willing to share. I'll post the recording either tonight or sometime tomorrow. All right. Bye, guys.
Great, thanks, bye.